Okay, cool. We are live. We are recording. So hope you guys are having a great day. Um, just so you know, if you did not listen to today's podcast, definitely go ahead and listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube if you haven't listened to it yet. But today I wanted to hop on here and record this because, being a dietitian, a registered dietitian, an online nutrition and fitness coach, I obviously deal with or have clients sometimes who feel like they kind of fall off their plan or they fall off their diet or they fall off their workouts and they're not, hitting these targets or these goals that we set out for them each day. And you might be feeling like you're in the same boat sometimes. I'm sure we all have had periods of time where we feel like we quote unquote fell off track. And it sucks when that happens, right? Like you're building a lot of momentum, you're hitting, your calorie goal, your protein, or, eating nutritious foods. You feel like you're on the right path to seeing the results you want. But for whatever reason, you end up like whether something with life happens, whether it's personal or work related or, whatever it is, something happens in your life that maybe you get out of your normal routine. And then some of these habits start to slip. And, then it feels very, very hard to re-implement some of these habits again. And I wanted to just like share this idea or this thought that I was having regarding this whole concept and an analogy that I really want you to like save and remember, like literally save this recording if you can, to come back to every time you feel like you are quote unquote falling off track. Because I actually did have, a client who she messaged me today and feels like she just fell off track. And I want you to think about it in a different way. When you say the phrase or use the phrase that, oh, I just fell off track or I need to get back on track, it paints the picture of you like there's one direction to go with things. And, when you were, hitting your goals, hitting your nutrition goals, having the right kind of diet for whatever goal you're trying to achieve, hitting your workouts, you're like on this straight path, like almost like a railroad track where you are literally on the track, on the train, going in that right direction. And when you say that you fall off track, you're kind of you're painting the picture of like either the train completely derails, falls off track, and it stops, or maybe you jump off the train, so you're on the side of the railroad tracks in the ground or on the ground and not moving at all, and not seeing any progress or not moving forward at all. But when it comes to viewing it like that, you fall into the trap of having this kind of like black and white mindset regarding things, or this kind of like on or off switch where, okay, I'm on the right path, I'm on track, or I'm off of my path and I'm off track. But when it comes to weight loss, fitness, nutrition, fat loss, changing your body, transforming your body, all of this, it's never black and white. There's always gray area, and it's never just an on or off switch. It's almost like those like light switches that some houses have or some people have in their house or some buildings you've probably seen, where it's like it's not an on or off switch, but there's like a little piece that you kind of slide up and down, and as you slide it up, the light gets brighter, and as you slide it down, the light gets more dim, where there's different shades of light in there. And that reflects the gray area that falls within nutrition and fitness and weight loss and fat loss. And another analogy that I think is also like really helpful to view this through this lens is, instead of thinking about, okay, you're on track or off track and whether you're falling off or on, think about you're on this, let's say, I don't know, trying to like phrase this the right way so you can visually see it. But let's say you're on actual like a train, but this train is like very, very slow. This train is going maybe a few miles per hour at the most. So it's a very slow train. And let's say like you're the only cart on this train. Like it's literally just you, a single person train on this tiny, small train on this track, and it's going 3 miles per hour. And let's say you're going through this, forest or this huge garden where there's tons of flowers on each side of you. And, there's different kinds of flowers. I'm not even going to try to name any types of flowers because I'm not an expert in this. I'm just using this for the, sake of the analogy. But there's different types of flowers. There's red flowers, blue flowers, green flowers on each side of you. And the green flowers represent, let's say, hitting your step goal. And the blue flowers represent hitting your nutrition goal. The red flowers represent hitting your workouts. So if you are, on this slow moving cart or train going through this forest, your goal, if your, goal is, staying in shape or getting in shape and losing body fat or, changing your body, is to, as you slowly go through, on this track, is to grab those 3 colored flowers, right? Hitting my nutrition, hitting my, workouts, hitting my steps. So I'm grabbing a blue flower, a red flower, and a green flower. And, you could have numerous different colors of flowers with other variables too, right? Like getting good quality of sleep could be a white flower. Another flower could be your protein goal, and that could be a purple. There could be a pink flower that represents just like good like stress hygiene, like keeping your stress low and doing things that help to relax you and things like that. So there's a bunch of different colored flowers, and they all represent different habits that benefit your health, benefit your fat loss, benefit your overall body composition change that you're trying to achieve. So when you're on this cart, and this cart, it never stops. It always goes, right? Time is always passing, right? It kind of symbolizes the time that goes by in life. Like a day is always going to pass, an hour is always going to pass, a minute is always going to pass. So we're always moving because time is always passing. And when you feel like you are perfectly on your game when it comes to your fitness, your nutrition, your workouts, all of that, your sleep, stress management, you are grabbing all of these different colored flowers as you pass by them. You are, paying attention in your cart as the train is slowly moving. You're grabbing the red, the blue, the purple, the green, the pink, all this that represent all these habits that you are trying to, stay consistent with in your life. But then when you have these periods of, falling off track, quote unquote, or not, hitting these goals or not keeping up with these behaviors, you're not derailing your train, that small cart that you're on. You're not jumping off of it even. You're still on it. You're still moving. You're still going. You're still on the track. You're just not picking up those colored flowers. Like maybe instead of, like the example I gave, I don't remember the colors I said, by the way, but let's just say blue is your step goal, pink is your workouts, and red is your nutrition. And let's say, you've been grabbing the pink, red, and blue for a consistent amount of time for 2 or 3 weeks. And then life happens, and then your workouts, you kind of slip up on, you skip a couple of workouts, but you can still grab let's say the pink and whatever other color that represents your steps and your nutrition. Like you can still grab those flowers. And maybe life gets stressful and you end up, missing out on some of those flowers too. And maybe it's just one flower, your step goal that you are hitting. Or maybe, let's say, life gets so crazy and life gets so busy and hectic and stressed. And for whatever reason, maybe you even just choose to not pull any of these flowers because, sometimes we feel lazy and we just have to admit it. Like, I just don't have the discipline to do it. And, sometimes you have periods where you're not pulling any flowers, but you're still on the track and you still have every opportunity to just slowly reach out and grab a flower. Doesn't have to be a big thing. Doesn't mean you have to go, run and chase down the next train, or, if your train derails or you feel like you're falling off track, you don't have to, do this big thing and make it a big thing to get your train back on the track. Like you're still on it. You're still just, sitting on this cart that's slowly moving just a few miles per hour, maybe a couple of miles per hour. And all you have to do is just gently reach out and grab a flower. And maybe that's the very first thing you do is just, I'm going to, make sure I have, a fruit at each meal today. And that's the one flower that you just slowly grab. And maybe you're just grabbing, one flower. That's the only flower you grab every single day, but you're slowly reaching out and grabbing a flower. And then, as a few weeks go by, or maybe a few days go by of grabbing that one flower each day, you feel capable and you have, the confidence and you have the wherewithal to be like, you know what, I'm going to grab another flower today. I'm going to try to hit my step goal now. So now, you're grabbing one flower, in the morning when that represents, hitting your fruit every single day or having a fruit with each meal. Then you're grabbing another flower each day, which is, your step count. And now you're grabbing 2 flowers every 24 hours. And now you do that for a few days. And now you're like, you know what? I feel ready to grab a third flower, which that third flower is going to be, getting back into my workouts. So now you're grabbing a third flower as you pass by. And you'll see, like, if you think about time passing and thinking about sitting in a cart and grabbing, one flower that represents one habit each day, like, in my opinion, when I think of it that way, it makes, quote unquote, getting back on track so much less overwhelming. Because I think what happens is people fall off track. They start by grabbing all these flowers, their workouts, their nutrition, their sleep, their stress, all this stuff, and they're doing all this stuff at once. And then they end up not doing anything and they stop. And then they psych themselves out and think they have to automatically go back from like 0, not grabbing any flowers, to all of a sudden grabbing all the flowers that pass them. But you don't have to. You just start out small. What is the smallest thing or the very first thing that you can do today that will represent the one easiest flower for you to grab? And these flowers, visually, if you're kind of picturing this, can be different in different proximity to this cart that you're on. So maybe for you, like, the easiest thing or the thing that feels the easiest for you to start doing again is hitting a step goal. Like, not even worrying about your nutrition necessarily, not even worrying about tracking your food, not even worrying about structured workouts, but just getting your steps in again feels like the lowest hanging fruit, right? It's the easiest thing for you to implement when you're at ground zero. And that could be, the flower that visually, when you picture this, is the closest to your cart. So you don't even have to reach that far. Like, maybe you don't even have to move your arm. You just have to grab it. What is your closest flower to you, or what is the lowest hanging fruit for you that you can grab? Now, let's say if workouts is something that really intimidates you, and it's really hard to get your workouts in because of your schedule, because you have kids or this or that, that would represent a flower that's maybe like at an arm's length reach, where you actually have to physically reach for that. That's probably not the first behavior then that you want to try to add back in if you did end up, quote unquote, falling off track with all these behaviors. You want to pick the easiest thing, or the thing that is the closest to your cart that's passing by, that takes the minimal effort for you to grab, to start building momentum, to start building confidence that you can actually do this thing. And then, like I said, once you grab that easiest thing, or that thing that is closest proximity to you, and you get used to grabbing that flower again, then you can add these other flowers that are maybe a little bit harder to reach or harder to grasp. And just wanted to like share this analogy because I think it really clicked for me when I was thinking about this, and really helps to, I guess, get rid of the notion that, like, there's this track that you're on, and if you mess up on your behaviors, or you end up, not being able to implement them anymore, then like you're off the track and you're derailed, and you have to somehow get back on, or somehow fix your train to get back on. But you're always on the track. You're always slowly moving. You're always sitting in the cart. All it takes is just a little bit of a reach to grab these habits and behaviors here and there. And when you think about it that way, hopefully it becomes way less overwhelming to start implementing these habits again if you have, quote unquote, fallen off or strayed away from them. So hopefully this was helpful. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Hopefully we'll get this figured out by next week. So hope you guys enjoy this. Definitely let me know in the comments if this analogy was eye-opening at all or helpful. And I will see you guys in the next one.